You are knee deep in your PhD. You're trying to hold everything together, and then all of a sudden, bam, a job vacancy. Maybe it's the dream role. Maybe it's not the dream role. Maybe it's just a role, but that role would give you a stable income, it would give you a proper title, and it would give you your first step on that career ladder. But wait, should you really apply for this kind of job before you finish your PhD? Is it a really bold career move, or is it just a fast track to burnout? Let's talk it through. If we've not met before, hi, I'm Dr Elizabeth Yardley, and I help PhD students get out of their own way and finish their doctorates. In all of the time that I've been supporting PhD students, most of the students I've come into contact with have had this dilemma. Do I apply for academic jobs now? Do I wait until I finish the PhD? And it can be really tough. They want to get into the world of academia. They want a foot in the door. They want their feet under the table. But that might mean their PhD takes longer to finish, or they struggle to finish their PhD. Some students have gone into academic jobs, and whilst it's been tough, they've got through it. They've been fine. They've finished their PhD. Other students, it hasn't been quite so straightforward. Maybe they've jumped into jobs too soon. Maybe they've underestimated what the workload's going to be like. Maybe it just hasn't worked out as planned. So I'm going to draw on some of the things I've learned supporting students in these situations to equip you with everything you need to know before you decide whether to apply for that job or not. So the first thing that I would say is the academic job market is tough. Like brutally tough. Like 50, 60, 70, 80 plus people applying for one role. And universities aren't just looking for somebody with a PhD or on their way to getting a PhD anymore. They're looking for a teacher, they're looking for a researcher, they're looking for a department contributor who's going to take on some kind of admin or leadership role. Someone who can bake a mean cake for the faculty meetings. Okay, maybe not that part, but you get the idea. You have to be all singing, all dancing, well-rounded individual. And most job listings are going to fall into two camps. PhD essential, and this is a hard no if you're still finishing up. There's no wiggle room there, okay? You have to have the PhD to apply for these positions, so don't waste your time. If you haven't got your PhD yet and having a PhD is an essential criteria, just leave it. Then there's PhD desirable, or ABD, all but dissertation. And this means that they might hire you if you're close to finishing. Read the fine print when it comes to these types of jobs. And if the information states that you've got to have your PhD by the time you start that job, they mean that, okay? So don't waste your time if you're not going to get there. And if they're open to ABDs, all but dissertation, you've got a shot. But you will need to convince them that you're almost done. And they will want to see actual evidence of that. They're not just going to take your word for it. And next up, you need to consider, are you actually ready? And let's be really honest here. Applying for academic jobs before you finish your PhD isn't just a case of can you do it, it's a case of should you do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So let's break that down. Realistically, how close are you to finishing? Are you just tidying up a few chapters? Or are you staring at a blank screen, wondering how on earth you're going to magic up 80,000 words in 6 months? Have you got a solid time frame for the submission of your PhD? Or are you still in the kind of I'm figuring it out category? If you're still knee deep in data collection, if you've still got a huge amount of writing to do, I would say that juggling a full-time job with that is not ideal. It could be a nightmare. Next up, can you handle the pressure of an academic job right now? And having spent 20 years working in this sector, believe me when I say that an academic job isn't just one job, it is multiple jobs. You've got teaching, which can be absolutely brutal if you haven't done it before. I remember one of my first academic jobs, and I would be up until the wee small hours of the morning, literally every day of the week, preparing my lecture slides, getting my seminar activities ready, just kind of trying to get a portfolio of stuff. It wasn't that much fun. And sure, I really enjoyed what I was teaching, but it was this constant hamster wheel of content creation. And the first few years of your academic career will often feel like that. You need to build up a body of your own teaching materials, your own lecture slides, your own seminar activities. And developing quality materials takes time. It takes a lot of mental bandwidth. And having to do that on top of a PhD, given how intense that was, and I'm just thinking back to it now, it was intense. It's a lot, okay? So it's a lot. Also, you've got to be a researcher. And research isn't just about having ideas, it's about turning them into projects. And that means juggling grant applications and peer-reviewed articles and reviewer comments and writing up this and chasing up that. It's busy. You are simultaneously working on research projects, applying for grants for new projects, writing up papers from old projects. You're expected to network as well, building up partnerships, building up groups of people that you can bring together to apply for funding around. It's really busy. You'll need to sell your research, and whether that's convincing a funding body to give you money for a project, whether that's convincing a journal to accept one of the articles you've written, whether that's getting external organisations to engage with your work. And don't forget the form filling in. Grant reports, ethical approval applications, data management plans, risk assessments. Risk assessments. Yeah, the joys. And then you've got your admin. University admin is a whole world of its own. You might find yourself organising open days, reviewing applications, dealing with student issues, sitting on a committee, chairing a committee, handling exam boards. All of this kind of stuff can take up way more time than you expect. And I kind of shudder to think about adding a PhD on top of that. Be brutally honest with yourself. Can you actually balance all of that without burning out? And the institution that you're applying to is a really big factor here. What you want to do is have a chat to people who are already working at that institution. What are their workloads like? What do they think about you coming in and doing a job there and doing your PhD at the same time? Because very often it's difficult to tell what things are going to be like if you don't know somebody on the inside. And a lot of the students that I've supported over the years have gone and got jobs at institutions where they haven't known anybody, but they've liked the sound of the institution, they've liked its values and what it appears to stand for. And then they've got inside that institution and oh my goodness, it's not what it says on the tin. So try and get some inside information if you can. So I'm going to stop being a negative Nancy now, and I'm going to think about why getting a full-time academic job might be a good idea. So let's say you do feel ready. What's in it for you? First up, you are on that career ladder. Landing a full-time, permanent academic job means that you are officially in. You're getting paid, you're gaining experience, you are securing a place in academia. No more wondering, will I ever get a job after this PhD? Because you'll have one. You're also going to get some financial stability, or at least a degree of financial stability. Because the university sector is not what it was in terms of a job for life anymore. But having said that, a full-time position within an academic institution is going to give you more financial stability than not having one, or being on some kind of casual work arrangement. Real salary with benefits. And being part of an academic institution, getting that academic job, can mean that you are among a community of other academics, other scholars. And after what can often feel like a very isolating experience as a PhD student, that is incredibly welcome. So if you do decide to go for it, if you are successful in your application, what do you need to do? You will need to be really on it with your time management, okay? And you will need to realise that the priorities have shifted, okay? So rather than having your PhD be the thing that you plan stuff around, your full-time job is now the thing that you plan stuff around, and your PhD is going to have to fit in around the structure of that full-time job. So it might be that you're only going to have a couple of hours on a Wednesday morning and say 4 hours on a Friday afternoon to dedicate to writing. So you're going to need to be really disciplined and really strict with yourself around time. And to be fair, some people find this useful. Some people find that actually the less time they have, the more constructively they use it. And if it's possible, try and negotiate your workload and try and structure your teaching commitments and your admin commitments around PhD time. So some institutions will give you a certain number of hours, workload hours per year, per semester, that you can spend working on your PhD, because it's in their interest for you to complete that PhD. So there are some places that will help you out there. So make sure that you're aware of that. And please make sure that you look after yourself, okay? It's going to be a tough ride completing your PhD whilst juggling a full-time academic job. So it is more important than ever to make sure that you are healthy, that you are well, that you are doing the things that you know work for you. Self-care isn't a nice to have. It's not an added extra here. It is absolutely essential. So make sure you prioritise it. And at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer to should I apply for a full-time academic job now? It's really down to you. If you're nearly done with your PhD, and if you are confident in your ability to balance both, go for it. If the thought of juggling a full-time academic job and your dissertation make you break out in a cold sweat, maybe don't. And the key is making an informed decision based on your situation, not the sense of urgency that you sometimes get when you see a job ad and you're like, oh wow, that looks amazing. You can often feel this pressure to just do it, just go for it, and to heck with everything else. Because there will be other jobs, okay? I want to repeat that. There will be other jobs. This is not the only academic position that is ever going to come up in your field, in your subject area. There will be others. And you know what? Some of those others might be better. They probably will be. And often the decision to sit it out, the decision to not apply for something, is a really hard one to make, because you get this FOMO, this fear of missing out, but you're not missing out, okay? Because it's not the only job in the world. The right opportunity will come, whether that's now, whether that's when you finish your PhD, whether that's in between the two, it will come, believe me. Now, if you're thinking, yep, I'm going to go for it, there's another video popping up on your screen right now that you might find helpful. It draws on my experience of being on university recruitment panels in terms of some of the things you should do and some of the things that you absolutely should not do when you're applying for an academic job. So go and check that out. I'll see you in there.